Hello guys, this is one of the craziest chess games I have played this year again. Round number 3, Najdorf Memorial, 2026. I'm playing against my friend from 10 years ago, so we really wanted to win, because we had big competition between each other. So I castle. I kind of didn't expect that he's gonna play c6 in the second move, but it is what it is. h6 also was a move that shocked me. Like, he played very well here, because many people online, for example, play e6 and then they fall for those wild ideas with h3, bishop e7, takes, and e4, and it's just better because I have pair of bishops and the middle of the chessboard. But yeah, he played h6, which is a very good move. c4, queen to b3. I'm trying to put pressure on b7 and defend the c4 pawn. Otherwise, I didn't see how to defend it. I mean, if I play b3, I'm gonna weaken the c3 square. He's gonna be able to go knight to e4. I don't like it. I just really didn't like b3. It's a playable move, totally playable, but it's just not for me. So I play c5. I'm grabbing space, doubling up the pawns, and now the only advantage for me is that I can push on the a file, but I mean, after a6 there is nothing for me to do, right? But at least I can put some pressure. My disadvantage is that I can never really create any pawn breaks, because, well, he's gonna play a6 and protect this square with two pawns, meaning that I would need at least one pawn defending the pawn break to be able to trade here. Otherwise, if I have a rook and a knight, and he goes a6 and I go b4, b5, he's gonna take, I'm gonna take, and he's gonna take with the pawn, and I'm gonna take, and it's gonna be two pawns for a knight. So yeah, I'm kind of blocked here, but my idea is to allow my knight to go to b3 and the knight to a5 to put pressure on the b7 pawn. I have a little bit more space, and that's what that's where I'm looking for my win. He should look for the e5 break. I mean, if he doesn't break through e5, I'm gonna be better. Knight to d7. I actually thought that bishop to c2 was a little bit better, to avoid knight to b3. So now I would play rook to a3, knight to d7, and knight to b3. But maybe, and e5. But I'm not sure if that's actually better. I mean, I just feel like bishop to c2 is a little bit more active than later bishop to d8. That's what I was calculating. And after I mean, yeah, what can I do? I guess I need to play e3, takes, even bishop, I know, not bishop d3, but rook to e8, knight to, yeah, that's pretty annoying. But I think it was a little bit more active. I'm not going to give you the exact variation now because I just forgot about it. The game later was very intense, and my opponent also thought that bishop d8 is the best, so I will just stick with this. The only problem with bishop d8 is that his disconnecting his rooks and blocking squares for this rook, right? Bishop to d6, rook to e8, and my idea is to protect f3. I mean, he's got control over the e4 square for now, so I'm playing f3 to control it, and maybe play e4 next, right, to grab some more space. Bishop to c2, knight to d2 was a weird move, what the computer says. I mean, of course I calculated knight to a5, takes, e5, e3, but what really discouraged me from playing this position was that he can always play bishop to b5 and protect b7 like this. But actually, now that I'm looking at it with, like, fresh mindset, if he does this, he's giving away the h3 c8 diagonal, which is gonna be super good for me, for my bishop. I have a lot of space. He doesn't really have a way of putting his knights into good squares. I mean, he can go knight to f8, knight e6, exert pressure on e5, but I can even defend it through rook to a4, rook to b4, and yeah, keep putting pressure on b7. So that's what I should have done, I think. It's crazy how you don't see those simple things during the game, but whatever. Rook f to c1, I play e4, and now I had few options, right? I could have played f4, to just block him and create, just keep space for myself. But here I just didn't like knight to g4, I think. Bishop to f3. Knight to f1 and even trading, and I'm just like, okay, you can play f6 and e5, and I'm not sure if I'm better here. I wouldn't say so, at least. He's gonna have control over the e file, so I played e4, and it required calculation. After d takes c, I had those little hopes he's gonna take, because I think it's a blunder. After d takes c, yeah, because I thought, oh, maybe he's only calculating that I'm gonna take. He's gonna take, and knight to c4, and he's thinking about this position, that I see this. But there was also a way for him to blunder via, for me to win because of this blunder via d takes c, rook to b8, and rook to c3. And now he cannot really take because of the fork. I mean, he probably should take. This is still the best option. But yeah, I'm winning the piece back. I'm a little pawn up. And I think that, I have some chances of winning, but still very close to equal. Okay, rook to c6, the best move in my opinion. Bishop takes. Yeah, this bishop was kind of weak in my opinion. In my opinion, those bishops are very weak because the center is blocked by the pawns. So yeah, a knight is actually a lot better than the bishop here. Knight to c4. Knight to d6. I'm going inside his base, in between his pieces, trying to discoordinate them using my outposts. I play rook to d1, exerting pressure. Bishop h3. Rook to c7. He plays this so after I take and takes, he is protecting the b7 pawn from the knight. King to h1. I'm running away so I can take, and take on d4. Knight to c6. And now I play rook to a4. I mean, I didn't even see knight to c6. It's just a quiet move. I need to learn to think of quiet moves like the first round king to f1 or this round knight to c6. I just didn't think about this move. It's actually a good one. He goes knight to g5, bishop g2, and here I think the computer said that you just need to repeat, because otherwise he can play a5 and kind of destroy my pawn structure. I calculated few things like bc, knight takes e4, this here, and I thought, for some reason I thought it's equal, but actually I'm a pawn down. Like, what is going on with me? Of course, it's not looking great for me. I don't know what I had in my mind, but I chose the better variation, I think. Rook to a5. The computer says it's an inaccuracy, but I'm not sure how. I mean, it's I don't even know what the glyph is, to be honest. But yeah, it's not the best move. I don't know what else I could have done. I mean, I could have taken on d4. That's true. And then just eliminate his very good pawn. But my idea was trapping his rook. The only problem is that he's got space on d4, and this is just something I forgot about. I played bishop f5, g6, and then I saw rook to f1. Almost a checkmate. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, because after he takes knight to f6, king to g6, rook to f5, I was thinking, okay, I mean, brother, you are losing, because rook to g8 is coming next. After knight takes e4, rook to g8, checkmate. There's one problem. In the calculation, the pawn was protecting the rook. So, and now it wasn't, so he can just take and win the game. But lucky it was move number 40. We got additional, as you can see, he had 3 minutes on the clock. And after this move, he got additional 30 minutes after move 40. And now I'm exchange up. There's many options, for example, d2, bishop to g4, defending d1. He cannot take because of rook to f7 checkmate. But I think he could have tried this, and then king to g2, and f6. That, in my opinion, that was the best try for him. And I'm not really sure how this game is gonna go, but I mean, he's not doing bad in my opinion. I'm not gonna use my computer now, I'm gonna analyze it later, but yeah, I think that was the better choice. King to g2, rook to d1, with his pawn up, I'm an exchange up. I got a doubled pawn, and you know what? It might have been easier usually, you know, if I had the pawn on a file and just push and defend. But here it works very well because it's protecting the c3 square and saving me. I play rook to e7, targeting the b7 pawn to create some counterplay. g4 is a weird move. I thought it's a great one because this move, that's what I calculated. I'm giving away my pawn, but his rook is disconnected from this side of the chessboard, so I can try to push the pawn. I play h5, so after rook to b7 and let's say rook to h4, I can take on f7 and do something with the rook, like take the pawn and put pressure, and allow some space for my pawn at the same time. But he goes king to g5, which I didn't calculate at all. Like, I just forgot about this move. It's what happens. I mean, this game lasted 5 hours and like 10 minutes, so you can just get tired and not see simple things. And it's getting dangerous, to be honest, when you think about it. Like, the king is getting close to me. Knight, king, and rook. This is a checkmating army. But I have a very good defense. Rook to a7, protecting the third rank. Actually, I was so happy to see this move. I mean, it's so good. It just shows the power of the rook. You put it on the third rank and it's defended. Rook to h4, so now his rook is kind of... Again, what I told you. His rook is trapped. His rook cannot get out and defend the b pawn. King to e2, king to d3, knight to f2. Everything was calculated by me, before b6. And here I was thinking of king to d4 or king to c2. King to d4 actually led to a draw, which I didn't see. But luckily I didn't play this anyway, so it doesn't matter. It led to a draw because knight to e3, b8 equals queen, king to g4, rook to a1, and here we fork. I was only calculating him promoting the queen and then me winning, right? But I didn't see knight to c2. Let's say king to c3 here. And yeah, I need to protect the d1 square. But luckily I understand, as an kind of experienced player at this point, that when you see the simplest variation, you go for it, you don't complicate, and you secure the win. And I played king to c2, king to d1. His pawn is more advanced than mine, but my pawn is not protected by any of his pieces. The promotion square of my pawn is not protected by any of his pieces. And my promotion square, his promotion square, is. After king to e3, I could have played b7 and blundered a checkmate into. But luckily, I saw rook to a3, king to d4, b7, and that's how I secured the win. My opponent surrendered. But actually, there was, the line that I can show you. So king to d1. The only way securing me the win is this doubled pawn that I told you about. Kind of useless, didn't move for the entire game, but protected c3, then protected the b pawn from behind. I mean, it's crazy how good this pawn was. After rook to b1, I can even promote. Simple as that. If there was no pawn, it would be a draw, or maybe even a loss for me. Rook to h2, and here I can just run away from the checks and win the game. Guys, what do you think about this game? I'm not as proud of it as the previous one. I was really happy after the last game. Today I'm playing against a 2250 rated chess player, so we will see how it goes. Wish me luck, I wish you a good day, and see ya.